Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you haven't met me before, my name is Jade. I create content which helps you grow your online presence, multiply your streams of income and create profitable businesses. So today's video is a bit different. I've got my cup of tea, and if you know me well, you know that if I've got a cup of tea, I'm about to have a real sit down chit chat style video with you, okay? What today's video is going to be about is all about dealing with hate online. And the reason why I wanted to create this video is because I recently attended an event by YouTube. I actually hosted a panel for the event. I'll link to a vlog up here so you can see behind the scenes of how that went. And during that event, I met so many incredible creators. And one thing that stuck out to me was that on numerous occasions, creators asked me, how do I deal with hate? And they also said that they wanted to start a new social platform, for example, a YouTube or a TikTok page, but they hadn't made the jump yet because they were scared of the hateful comments that they might receive. And it just really made me think, oh my God, I wonder if there's people in my community who feel the same way. And if that is the case, then I really hope this video is going to help you not only deal with haters if you're already having haters, but really get past that roadblock so that you can really start creating the content that you really want to create without any fear of judgment. So let's just get straight into it. I'm probably just going to stay in the same spot today, keep it super chill. Let's chat. Okay, so I know I said I would stay in one position, but the corner seat was calling my name. So hate. Before we get into it, I feel like I need to just talk about the difference between hate and feedback, because there is a difference, right? Sometimes you might receive comments on your YouTube channel, on your TikTok or whatever, which is actually feedback, but more often than not, it could be wrapped in hate. And that's why it could be a bit confusing. So it's someone annoyed with your sound quality and leaving you a comment like, oh, your sound quality is so rubbish, I'm not gonna watch your videos anymore. That feels like a hateful comment because they felt the need to announce the fact that they're not going to watch your videos anymore. However, within that, there is potentially some feedback to think about, right? And there are some things, particularly things like sound quality, that if someone does pick up on these types of stuff, maybe your footage was shaky or maybe your lighting was bad, you kind of need to get in the habit of learning how to unpick those comments and noticing when there's actual valuable feedback in there, right? So that's just one thing to flag. I'm not saying every single time you get a comment that you don't like, it's therefore hate, because sometimes there is a bit of feedback in there. However, when I'm talking about hateful comments, it's usually comments where it's in no way constructive and they're very much just someone projecting their own life experiences, insecurities, general displeasure with life or whatever it is that you're talking about in your content. They're projecting that onto you, and they're doing that by sharing a hateful comment with you. And I'm here to tell you that it does not matter what your niche is, guys, you're gonna get a hateful comment. And I was naive enough to think that when I started out, I don't think I really gave any thought as to whether or not I was going to get hate, because in all honesty, when I started out, I just thought, why would I get hate when I'm literally creating content what's just designed to help people? Like how could someone have a problem with that? Lo and behold, people can have a problem with that, because guess what, guys? People can and will have a problem with everything. It doesn't matter how noble you're being, how helpful your content is, how entertaining or valuable your content is. It honestly doesn't matter. Someone out there will find an issue with it. And majority of the time this happens because someone wants to have an issue with your content. Like they're looking for a reason to dislike you and everyone who's within your niche. You don't even really need to give them a reason. If someone decides that they're gonna be hateful that day, then there's nothing you can do what's gonna stop them. They're gonna go ahead and be hateful, right? So let's talk a bit about how I manage these comments and how you can manage them too, because I actually feel like I'm in a pretty good place when it comes to these types of comments. The first and most significant piece of advice that I feel like I could give you, and it's something that I really live by, is to protect your peace. And what I mean by that is you need to find a way, whatever works for you, which allows you to remain at peace with your content, right? And there's a few different ways that you can do this. One way is by using the tools that social media sites make available to you. So pretty much every social media site gives you the ability to filter your comments, right? So if you know that there's a certain type of comment that you get that's hateful, maybe it's in regards to your gender or your race or something like that, that trolls often like to comment on or spread hate about online. Well, you can use these different systems on your social networking platform to ensure that certain words are being picked up on in your comments, and if someone uses a certain word, that comment does not appear on your profile. So that's just one small way you can do it. Of course, you can block people, and I fully believe in blocking people. Sometimes people have a really strong opinion about whether or not you should block other people from your account, but it's your account. If you don't want someone who's spreading hate on your account to continuously spread hate, then you can block them. If it doesn't bother you, leave it. whatever. But if you want to block someone from your account, then it's well within your right to do so. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise, right? Another way that you can protect your peace, which is potentially going to be a bit controversial, but honestly, this is what I do, so I'm just going to share it anyway. Every now and then, you might post a piece of content that is getting traction, and as a result of it getting traction, you might notice that you're getting slightly more negative, hateful comments than usual. And remember the difference between hate and feedback. I'm specifically talking about hate here, right? When that happens, this is most commonly happens on platforms like TikTok because of how its algorithm works, you can just not look at the comments. And I am obviously a huge advocate for engaging with your community. And if you're at a level where you're like, well, I really want to make sure that I'm still responding to my community's questions and I'm staying close to what my community is saying, then get someone to filter through your comments for you. Like when I have a piece of content, again, this has only ever really happened on TikTok, where it's gotten a bit of traction and I know that therefore there's going to be some comments in there which might annoy me and disrupt my piece in some way, then I give my phone to Jamie and I'm like, hey, can you just let me know which comments need responding to, and I'll just respond to those comments. So that way I feel like I'm still close to the community on that platform. I'm still listening to what they want from me and what they need help with, but I'm also protecting my peace and allowing myself to avoid scrolling through all these hateful comments from people who don't like my industry or don't like what I'm doing, right? I just think that is a really great way for you to protect your peace. So consider doing that, and you don't need to hire someone to do that. Like it could just be your friends and family, just asking them, hey, can you give me a general vibe of what the comments are saying in this video, because I don't want to look at them today, right? That's something that I do on all of my platforms actually, but I find less of a need to do it on platforms like YouTube and Instagram, just because there's hateful comments there, but I don't know, they're not as misguided as the comments that you might get on a TikTok. So yeah, I basically just think you should put your peace above all else. And if you know that there's something you can do what's going to help you protect your peace, then I think that's what you should do. The next thing I want to talk about is your mindset. I feel like we've moved away from this idea now, but back in the day, there used to be this narrative that you shouldn't let hate comments bother you. And people would come out saying like, oh, I just let these comments roll off my back. And maybe there are some people in the world who can do that, but I'm willing to bet that most people can still get bothered by the odd comment here and there, right? It's hard not to be bothered by someone spreading something about you that is untrue or saying something that just comes from pure hate. It's hard not to get bothered by that from time to time. I'm a real advocate for letting yourself feel the emotions that you're feeling, right? If you read a comment and it bothers you, let yourself be bothered by it for a bit. I think what's important is that you're really careful by how long you let yourself be bothered by it, right? So I like to think of it as like a cloud on a sunny day. Look at me just coming up with my own metaphors. It's like a cloud on a sunny day, right? You read a comment, the cloud passes over you and you feel a bit annoyed, right? Everything goes a bit dark for a bit and you let yourself just think about all the things that you want to say in response to that comment. I'll talk about whether or not you should be like clapping back in a second, but you think about all the things you want to say to this person. You think about all the ways that you can prove them wrong and the victory that you would get as a result of just calling them out in your comment section, right? You let yourself feel those emotions and feel annoyed, and then you let the cloud pass and you let it go. And when I first started getting kind of negative comments, it would take me maybe 10 minutes, maybe even 15 when I first got started. It would take me 10 to 15 minutes of me just stewing in my annoyance and just sitting there being like, this comment has really gotten on my nerves, right? I was stewing it, and then at that point I'd be like, let it go. And it's such a difficult thing to do, don't get me wrong, it takes practice, but at that point I'd be like, anytime my mind wandered towards that comment, I would think, no, you're over it now, we're moving past it, you've let yourself be annoyed about it, and now it's time to move on. And what I will tell you is that the year and a half since I started my channel, it becomes so much easier to do that. Like I barely even need a few minutes for that now. I'll see a comment and I'll still let myself be like, oh, and then literally 1 or 2 minutes later, I let it go and I move past it. And the more you do it, the easier that process becomes. Don't get me wrong, sometimes I slip up and I let that comment come back into my thoughts from time to time. Like it's not, you know, no one's ever perfect, but that process and that whole mindset piece has really, really worked well for me. So let's talk a bit about clapping back. If you don't know what I mean, I'm just talking about like responding to hateful comments. Now, as I said at the start, the most important thing to consider when you're trying to find a way to manage hateful comments is to think about what will protect your peace. And for some people, responding to negative comments and, you know, calling people out and proving that this person is wrong or bringing attention to that comment actually is their way of protecting their peace. Like for some people, they're like, I just need to respond to this person. Like I need to get how I feel out, and I'm not going to feel at peace until I do so. And if you're one of those people, then that is going to be protecting your peace, and therefore clapping back, responding to comments might be something that you do want to do from time to time. For me personally, I don't respond to hateful comments. And I mean, I may have done one or two in the very beginning, but I definitely don't do it now. The reason why I don't respond to these comments is because for me, it does the opposite of protecting my peace. If I'm going to respond to the comment, I usually end up spending more time stewing on that comment because I'm drafting a response than I would have if I just done my whole cloud trick and let it pass. So that's one reason. But another reason is for me, I feel like I'm feeding like the hate machine. If someone leaves an annoying comment and then I respond and then they respond, so I get annoyed again because they've left an annoying comment, or I'm anticipating their response. And for me, it just like fosters the negativity. There's just more of it. It's like it multiplies it. So for me, I would much rather just be annoyed about it for a few minutes and then let it pass. But as I said, it's about protecting your peace, and that method for me is what protects my peace. Okay, so I'm gonna wrap it up by giving you one final piece of advice. And this advice is super important, and it's something that I think a lot of people fall victim of. And I think I've almost fallen victim to this as well at one point in my journey. And it's all about changing your content or yourself to please the haters. I have this saying, or it's definitely not my saying. There is this saying which is all about creating content for your audience and not for your haters. And what that basically means is that you're creating content for people who regularly watch your content. You're not creating content for the person who stumbles on your video, hates your content, leaves a hateful comment, and then keeps it moving. You're creating content for the people who regularly watch your videos. I'm not saying you're only creating content for people who love you and only leave nice comments. I'm saying that you're just creating content for the people who regularly watch your videos. So there might be some feedback comments in there from people who watch your videos who want you to make some changes. But what we're not going to focus on is the random comments from haters that you get from time to time. Let me give you an example of this. Someone once told me that they just hate anyone who teaches how to grow on social media. So they just hate my content because they hate the fact that I'm teaching people how to grow their online presence. If I listen to that one person who's not my audience, clearly, because you hate what I teach, but if I listened to that one person and stopped creating content which helped people grow online, I would be ignoring all of the people who message me, leave comments, and even the people who don't leave any form of comments or don't reach out to me at all, but who still get so much value from my content. I would be ignoring all of them to please this one person who's probably never going to come on my channel again anyway. Like, how wild is that? And sometimes, you know, we have a habit of focusing on that one hate comment that you got, even though there was 30 other amazing comments there, focusing on that one hate comment and thinking, maybe I shouldn't talk about this anymore. Maybe my voice is annoying. Maybe I should change my style. No, there are 30 people who left comments because they love what you do, right? Do not change everything about yourself or your content because of the one random comment or however many random comments you get from haters who are just passing by, right? They're not your audience, and they're not going to ever love your content regardless of what you do. I'm sorry, that came out so harsh, but it's true. There are people who just, they want to have an issue with what you're doing. So you can change your content, but they're still going to have a problem with it, right? So listen to your audience, not to your haters. Okay, so that turned into a little bit of rant at the end. I mean, I probably could have guessed that that was going to happen, but I really hope that if you've watched this video, you've taken some value from it, and hopefully it's going to help you a bit on your journey when it comes to managing hateful comments in the future. What I hope more than anything though is that you never receive any hateful comments, but in today's society there's a big chance that we're all going to, unfortunately. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. If you feel like hanging around, I recommend checking out this video. It's a vlog where I take you behind the scenes of what it looks like to be a full-time content creator. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I can't wait to see you in my next video.